topic is interesting. Will I get it too? Will I get it too? When as health professionals, we one of the common risk factors or predisposing factors that people face are family history or genetic or hereditary predispositions, and these things are usually very, very, very common in a lot of conditions. Now, tonight we'll be delving into the fact that if your parent, either both parents or one parent, has a history or has been diagnosed of hypertension, do you stand a chance of gaining also you stand a chance of also contracting or getting the hypertension? And to do that, we have two distinguished health professionals who will be taking us on this dialogue. And I happen to be your moderator, the captain of the boat, the driver of the vehicle, and the pilot of the flight. So fasten your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen. Flight number 021 about to set off. Fasten your seatbelts and let's kick on. Okay. All right. So to start with, we'll be having our first health professional who would take us on this drive. And she's in the person of Madame, let me see if I'll get the name correct. Yes, Madame Elizabeth Ajoa Janwa Karikari. She's a nurse and a health educator. And she'll be taking us on the first session. Yes, the first half. If it was a football match, we say the first half of the game. So she'll be taking us on the first half of tonight's dialogue. So, Miss Elizabeth, I hope it's Miss. If it's not Miss, I'm sorry. Yeah. So, Miss Elizabeth, welcome to tonight's.
Mr. Solo, thank you very much.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So,
yeah, Miss.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, the floor is all yours. Take us on the drive, a smooth drive, and then a projectile flight of
so please, if you can
talks.
Sure. So Mr. Solo, please, if you can share the slides for us.
Fantastic. Why not?
Then the name too is not Kari, it's Kakari. It's a special name.
Oh, really? Kakari? Oh, sorry.
Yes, it's not Kari, but pronounced Kakari.
So the spelling is Kari, but the pronunciation is Kakari.
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. I get it. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
okay, so yes, I'm sharing the screen.
Okay.
Okay. So if you can see my screen, all right. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can.
Fantastic. So over to you.
Okay, thank you. So good evening, everyone. As usual, thank Dr. Benedict and the RTC Foundation for this opportunity to talk with all of us, to educate, to learn, and to build ourselves up. So today we'll be talking about hypertension. Hypertension has been a household name for a while now, the silent killer and all that. So today we'll be moving into, I want to do it more of practical and easy for us to understand. So I'll be using some day-to-day activities in my section so that we get to understand it in the layman's view. So to begin with, I have a question to all of us. That how many of us here know at least a family member with a high blood pressure? For some of us, it's almost everyone in our family. That from our mother to our father to our aunties, uncles, I mean everyone, and you even wonder if everyone in the family has it. And the next question will be, am I the next on the line to have hypertension? So this session will answer all our questions and the fears that comes with that, and to help us to understand it clearly. So what is hypertension and why it runs in family? What puts us at risk? What do we have to do to prevent or manage it? So right now, this is a practical session. So think of your family like a house. If the roof in your parents' house, that's the time you're living in your parents' house, if the roof should be leaking, chances are that the same roof might leak in your time if that roof is not changed. But if you repair it and take care of it, you may live in the same house without the leak. And that's how hypertension works. So what's the silent killer? Why do we call hypertension the silent killer? Hypertension means high blood pressure. Okay, that's the main HPP, high blood pressure. That is when the force of blood inside your blood vessels is too strong for a long time. So blood vessels are like pipes carrying your blood. So the blood pressure is how hard blood pushes against the walls of the pipes. Hypertension is when that push is too strong for a time. That's the basic definition to our understanding. It is called a silent killer because you may feel fine, but damage is happening inside. No signs or symptoms, or even if it shows, it is ignored. Just like a pipe leaking behind the wall of your house. You don't see it until the wall cracks or the water eventually gushes out. In WHO statistics, it says 1 in 4 adults have hypertension worldwide. And it's only discovered when it now turns into a terminal illness like stroke, kidney failures, and so on. If it is so common and silent, do you think people check their blood pressure often? This is a question to all of us. So now we come. What is hypertension? So right now we'll be explaining hypertension using the numbers. So you mostly hear of, do you know your numbers being tagged with the word hypertension? So let's use this scenario. Imagine water flowing in a pipe, right? So if the pipe is wide and clear, water flows smoothly. That is what we explain as what? A normal blood pressure. So normal BP, I'll take it again, it's like a pipe which is flowing. It's wide and clear and the water flows smoothly through it. Now, if the pipe becomes narrow or is blocked, the pressure of the water that builds up indicates a high blood pressure. So right now, the high blood pressure are the arteries in our body. So now if this pipe becomes narrow and becomes blocked, you may term that as what? High blood pressure. So if the pump, that's the water pump, keeps pushing harder to move water through the blocked vessels, the pipe weakens and bursts. Then this is when what complications occur. With this illustration, the normal flow of blood through the vessel or normal BP is said to be 128. So now looking at the numbers, if it's 120 to 129, that's for the systolic, and the diastolic being below 80. That is using the example of the pipe. That is when what the water starts pushing harder. It is what said to be elevated. Then when the BP is around 130 to 139 for the systolic and 80 to 89 for the diastolic, That's when the pressure in the pipe is building up gradually. It is considered as what stage one blood pressure or hypertension. And when the systolic is 140 and high, and the diastolic is 90 or high or above that, that's when the pipe is in its danger zone and is considered as what? Stage 2 blood pressure or hypertension. So someone might ask, how do I know the difference in the numbers? So we have the systolic and the diastolic pressure. No one else mentioned. Some people may be wondering what's all this about. So the systolic pressure is mostly the number at the top. So if you take 120/80, the 120, that's the number at the top, is what we term as the systolic. So this shows the pressure in the blood vessels when your heart is pumping the blood out. So here we think of it like water rushing through a pipe when the tap is fully open. So that's how it acts. So when the blood vessels is being open and the pressure is just flowing through it, we term them as what? Systolic. And the diastolic is the number at the bottom. So if you should take it now like 120/80, the 80, that's the number below, becomes the diastolic. And this shows the pressure in your blood vessels when your heart is resting between beats. So when your heart is resting between beats, that's what we term as diastolic. So I made this simple to say that systolic is just like squeeze. So when the heart is squeezing the blood out, we term it as systolic. And diastolic, so it's now someone dosing. So you are resting in between beats. So you see, mostly when someone is dozing, it's not a constant sleep. The person goes off and comes back. So that's what you can use to tell for the diastolic. That's the dose heart that is resting in between beats. So moving on to the types of hypertension. So there are two types of hypertension. That's the primary and the essential. Now, not all high blood pressure is the same. So I'm breaking it down. With the primary hypertension, which is also known as the essential hypertension, it is the most common type of hypertension. It develops slowly over time, usually as one grows older. There is no single cause. It is like when your favorite slippers just wears off gradually. You are wearing it always, and just one day you notice that the slippers have thinned out, but you can't say the exact day it happened. That's how the primary hypertension is. It develops slowly without giving any notice, and mostly it comes off when what? We are growing older or when we are aging. And when we come to the secondary hypertension, that's the second type of hypertension. It is caused by something else. That means there's an underlying cause to it. So this type of condition is hypertension is always hiding beneath something. So let's say someone having a kidney disease, someone is pregnant, having thyroid issues or something. All these things or these diseases can bring about what? That kind of hypertension. That means if these diseases are taken off, that means the hypertension or the high blood pressure can also be taken off. That's it. So the good news is that, as I said it, if the underlying cause is treated, you may have your BP back to normal. So that's the good thing with the secondary hypertension. So moving on to the next slide. That's the slide 5. So the global perspective that we have. So there are organizations, big organizations in health, and they also have their voices in hypertension. So from those from the World Health Organization. So in its statistics, it says that 1 in 4 adults have hypertension worldwide. So if you take globally, if you take 4 people, so if I should be put aside, if Dr. Benedicta should be put aside, if Mr. Solomon should be put aside, and if Betty should be put aside, out of these 4 people, at least one person is having hypertension, and that shows how dangerous it is. And in Ghana, it says that many don't even know that what they have it, and they only discover it after a terminal illness like stroke, kidney failure, or a heart problem. So that's what it also says. So whether it's in the world, whether I'm Africa, Asia, all the way to Ghana, the story is still the same. High blood pressure is everywhere, but all of them still carry out one message. That is, early detection and lifestyle changes can save our life. So to the next slide, that looking at understanding the factors of hypertension. So looking into the causes and contribution factors of hypertension. Um, let's see what makes this hypertension rise. So they are segregated or differentiated into different sections. So we have the biological factors, the lifestyle, the psychosocial, and the environmental factors. Now looking at the biological factors, is the body's natural makeup that we cannot what directly control. So the biological factors is how our body is made up. And with these ones, we cannot control it no matter what. So it's how we age. So from time to time, as we grow older, our body also takes it up, and it's normal. It might come up and you can't do anything about it. It might come to you just as it is. And also there are your genes. That if hypertension runs in your family, you're at risk of having a higher, you're at higher risk than someone who doesn't have it in their family. Also, sometimes our hormones or sex differences can also be a factor. So, example, men get it earlier than women. So, men may experience it before women experience it. Women mostly experience it after menopause, or sometimes some people experience it during pregnancy. That's when they have high blood pressure or hypertension. So also the next one I'll be talking about is the lifestyle. So when we talk about lifestyle, is the daily habits and choices we make. So some people eating lots of salty or fatty foods can be a risk of you having hypertension. Drinking alcohol or smoking, not exercising, and sitting for long hours, especially the sedentary workers. Those who sit there 9 to 5 workers, they sit for long hours, sometimes from morning to evening without moving about. You can be at risk. And sometimes poor sleep pattern. We know that we all want money. We need the money. So we work from after work from our workplaces to the house alone. It's like 2 hours, and by 5 you have to be up again so that you can pass through the Ghana church traffic and get to work at 9. On Saturdays too, we are attending events, weddings here, funerals there, party here and there. So there's always something to do, and which gives us less sleep, and this can also be what a contributing factor. And the next factor is the psychosocial factor. So this is about your emotions. It's about the way you react to things, your stress and what social life. So constant stress. Some people, they are the most hardworking people. Yes, it's good to be hardworking, but you are saying don't overdo it. They work till they meet the deadline. They don't want anyone complaining of their work, so they always want to get it done without resting. Some people, the financial pressure is too much from family, from friends, from society. So they are always putting themselves to getting something. And all this can contribute to hypertension. Also, anxiety, depression, or loneliness. Please, so I'm emphasizing on loneliness. Hmm? We can't live in this world, we can't live on our own. That's the truth. We can't live on our own. So that's why we have family. At least everyone has a family. And everywhere you go, there are people around us. We are surrounded by human beings. So get into connection, get into network, get into foundation, get into institution. That's why we have RTC Foundation. It's a family, it's a group, it's a community. So when you engage in this things like this, it always creates that love and that sense of belongingness, because loneliness can also cause what? Hypertension and lack of strong social support. So let's take this example from the psychosocial factors. Imagine carrying a heavy load on your head all day. It wears you down. Stress does the same inside your body, raising your blood pressure. So the stress is like a heavy load that you are carrying. Until you let someone help you with that load, or until you put it down, it's also breaking you down, which can cause the high blood pressure. And also, the last factor I'll be talking about is the environmental factor. So, the environmental factor is talking about the world around us, the world in which we are living. Those of us in the urban areas, oh my God, we live in busy cities. There is noise here and there is traffic, there's pollution, from air pollution to noise pollution to land pollution everywhere. And this can have an effect on us, which can cause what? HPT or hypertension. Also, easy access to fast food instead of fresh food. Our Gen Z generation, the fast food is too much. Please, we have our fresh and our local food. Mango Gang, we have it there. We have our contomere, our yama, and pesi. We can go with the natural way. They have nutrients in it. They are very nutritious for us to take. With the fast foods, there are chemicals, there are lots of spices and all those things. And you know that these spices, this onga and all those Remy spices, now there are a whole lot on the market. They all have some salt content in them. And we know that salt is also what a contributing factor to having high blood pressure. So please let's try our best to cut down on the fast food and limited access to healthcare or safe places to exercise. Hmm. And I should ask right now that we should raise our hands, or we should say when last we exercise. I think we will stay on this call and we won't close. Exercising is also very important. When we exercise, it keeps the body active. When we exercise, we burn fat and a whole lot. It always keeps the body moving. It makes you strong. Once in a while, we just walk around. Now, the exercises doesn't really mean going to the gym. If you don't have money for gym, you can do it at home. Can get a mat on the ground, doing some leg exercises, some hand exercises. If you should even go to social media to Google how some exercises at home, you get a lot to do without going to the gym to pay. We can get it at our home. So I want us to look at this scenario from the factors of hypertension. So there is a man that says that my father had BP and he asked if you also get it. He eats the same salty soup being prepared by the mother. He does not exercise and gets angry at the same football matches that he watches with his father. So it's not just the father's blood, that is the biological factor. It's not just the lifestyle too that will what contribute to it. So yes, there's biological factors, there's lifestyle, there's psychosocial, there's environmental. And we are talking about the family pattern. But if we don't um have our own interests at heart that we will not follow the pattern of the family, we can get it. So there's a question I have for us. How many of us here add extra salt to our food before even tasting it? That's the one of the quickest tickets. This one is a free ticket to hypertension, especially those who eat the fufu and the soup. Rice is for the first 2 years I want salt. Without even tasting it, they want to add extra salt to the food. And it's a high cause of what hypertension. Now looking at the risk factors for hypertension. So risk factors also increases our chances of getting high blood pressure. And the risk factors are also grouped into two, which are the modifiable and the non-modifiable factors. Now to the modifiable factors. Non-modifiable, it means that it cannot be changed. Non-modifiable means that it cannot be changed. Some
Before you end,
examples are family
you say that
history,
are you making up? Uh-huh.
the
About the
age,
phone issue, you said he has heard it,
the
but me, I
gender,
told
ethnicity, and all these things poses you at a higher risk. And with the modifiable risk factors, they are the ones that you can change. With these ones, you can do something about it, such as overweight. When you're overweight, when you're obese, you can exercise, you can do um weight gain, food and all that. Can do dieting and you can change it. Now there is diet. With the salt intake, you can cut down on it. You can cut down on the spicy food, the fast food, and all this will help. If you smoke or you take in alcohol, you can put a stop to it. And inactivity, those of us who don't exercise, you can put in exercises. If it's stress, you can cut down on the things that brings about stress. If it's people, cut them out. If it's work, know how to live your way around it. And poor sleep. All these are examples of what modifiable factors. So this is telling us that although we have the risk factors of hypertension, some of them are there that we can really work on that will what change our lifestyle. So let's think of it like this. Non-modifiable risk factors are like our surnames, okay? So just like my surname, Kakari. I was born with it. So when my parents gave birth to me, they named me as Kakari. That name will not change. And we ladies, even if we should get married, it will change, but still we still adopt a surname. And these surnames will not change. And to be carried on from our husbands to us, to our children, to our children's children, and the generations to come will still hold on to it. So that's how the non-modifiable risk factors are. It runs in the family and it cannot be changed. But there is good news with the modifiable risk factors. So let's look at the modifiable risk factors like our clothes, our shoes, our accessories. You can put them on, and if you think it doesn't match what where you are going, the occasion you can easily change them anyhow. That is how the modifiable risk factors are. So if you are obese, overweight, if it's diet, if it's poor sleep, if it's stress, you have a chance at it. You can change it and you can modify it to suit you so that you not be at risk of having hypertension. So which one do you think matters the most? Is it modifiable or the non-modifiable risk factors? So now let's look at the family history. So we'll see a tree by the side of my slide with a man standing either. So that's how our family history is like. It's represented by a tree from the grassroots to the stem to the branches to the leaves. It all boils down from what? The roots which are inside the soil. That's how our families are. The grassroots of our families are in the roots, are in the soil. And the leaf, the branches, and the stem of the plant all get its nutrient or its ability from the roots. If the root should die, the whole tree dies. If the root should get the proper nutrients, the tree flourishes. So that's the representation of family in having hypertension. If there's the history of hypertension in the family, just like the tree having its nutrients, the probability of you getting it is high. And if there isn't, the probability of you not getting it is also high. So what are some of the things that um causes families to have um the hypertension or the risk factor? So we have the genes. Some people's bodies hold on to salt more strongly, making BP high. So some families it's natural. The genetic makeup of their bodies make them hold on more onto salt. That is sodium. And this can cause them to easily have what? Hypertension or high blood pressure. And shared diet and habit. So I made scenario of a guy and his father. So the soup that your mother will cook in the house, everybody's eating that soup. If that soup is salty, that's what you are all eating. If you don't exercise, you are all in the house. That's what we are all doing. So it's the shared diet and habits. We all do those things together and we go up with it. The environment, some areas that we live in, um, some strategies that we take in our way of life. The environment has a way of shaping us. Unknowingly, we can be practicing it and can be having an effect with that. But family history doesn't mean you are doomed. I'll take it again. Having a family history of hypertension or high blood pressure doesn't mean you are doomed. It only means that your risk is higher, like having a slippery floor in your house. If you are careful and you wear good shoes, you might slip or you may not fall at all. But if there is a slippery floor and you don't have proper shoes on, you might slip or fall. So having a family history of high blood pressure doesn't guarantee you of having high blood pressure. You may or you might not. Now let's see what happens if the BP is left uncontrolled. So looking at the complications of hypertension. So if hypertension is left uncontrolled, one thing that happens is that it has a toll on all parts of our body. You should know that our bodies are interconnected from our systems to our organs to everything is interconnected. So if something should happen at one side and nothing is done to it, gradually it moves to the other side. So at the beginning, I was using the case of the pipe and the pump to explain how hypertension is. And I want to still use that scenario to explain the complications for us to get a better view of it. So if the heart, if the heart that pumps the water gets tired, or if the pump in our heart gets tired, then it causes heart failure. It can cause heart failure, it can cause heart attack, it can cause enlarged heart. So you just be there, somebody will faint, or you just be there, then somebody will just fall off, and the next thing you hear, the person is dead. Then most thing I can say to, oh, not sure, no, nothing was wrong with this person. Oh, even yesterday I talked to you, you was fine, we were all laughing. All of a sudden, he just fell and died. Who knows? The person might be battling with what? High blood pressure or hypertension, and the person didn't know. So that's how far it can go. And if the pipe that is rushing is blocked, is trying to pump hard, and it gets into the brain, it can cause stroke or memory loss. Same implies you just be there and like, oh, he was just there. Then you say when you have stroke, the person has gotten stroke. One side is not working, both sides, the person is just in bed, they cannot do anything. And we should know that the brain controls the whole part of the body. So if the brain is not functioning, that means what? Every part is not functioning. And to just get in bed and become what? Burdens onto people. Whilst we could have helped prevent this earlier. And now if the filter of the pipe or of the pump should get damaged, then it causes kidney disease. You know that the kidneys almost act as the filter. So if these filters should get damaged, it will cause kidney disease, which can lead to you being on dialysis for life. And if we should go to the hospital and go to the dialysis unit, you know that these people are not taking it easy at all. When your blood has to go through an artificial means, go to the external waste and still come back into your body, we didn't want to get there. And the money involved in it is even a toll on its own. So instead of using your money for this dialysis or something, you could use your money to save your family, to help your children's education, to build a business or something else. So please, let us not wait for things to get worse. And also, the tiny wires, that is the eyes, when it burns out, it can cause blindness and vision loss. So let's just look at just this small thing, this small thing that we call HPT or BP. Just two or three words. Look at the damage it can cause us. It can cause us our whole life. It can cause death. And this brings stress and other things to our family. And we wouldn't want it to get there. So the earlier we take a chance of it, the better. So now let's look at the pathway to the diagnosis of the hypertension. So what will we do to know that what someone actually has hypertension? You know, sometimes it's funny when some patients should come to the hospital, then they just check their BP and they just shoot. The person like, hey, Auntie Nurse, may your BP and yes, mostly that's the thoughts that comes to our mind. But you should know that activities that we do, doing a rigorous activity before checking your BP can make it go high. And that doesn't mean instantly you have what? High blood pressure. So we say one person has blood pressure or high blood pressure when the person consequently has high values. That's over a period of time. So not once, not twice, not thrice. Over a period of time, you check and your BPs are high. Then we can say that you are having a high blood pressure. But please, when you walk from your home, pick a car, get to the hospital, and your BP is checked and it's high, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have BP. Yes, it can be a factor, but not always. So now, what factors can contribute to a high BP? So I'll just end with the proper way for us to check our BP. So when you have to check your BP, which can be done at home, and I also encourage everyone to get the BP machine if you could. So you sit in a chair and you are well relaxed. The word is well relaxed. You slump yourself in the chair. Then position yourself well. Then you test the cuff of the BP machine. That's the one we tie around the arm. That's the cuff. You test it to see if it's working. If it's working, then you properly position it on your hand. Mostly, people prefer to use the left hand because we believe that it's closer to the heart and it will give the desired figures that we need. So this is where I'll end and I'll leave it for my co-presenter Auntie Betty to continue.
Oh, wow. What an amazing and a fantastic time with our very own Madame Elizabeth Carrick. Madame Elizabeth
Kakari.
Carrick. I
Daddy.
suppose. We'll get it. We'll get it correct. We'll get it. Be honest. We'll
Yes,
get it
we
correct.
would.
We'll get it. That was fantastic. That was brilliant. You really went in and out of hypertension. I'm sure when hypertension meets us on the way today, he will not take it easy on us. We won't take it easy on him at all because
Oh no,
the
no, no, we
information
won't.
that you've poured on us is quite fantastic. I mean, one of the striking moments for me is the fact that men gets it early. Men gets it early. That's one.
Yes,
Mm.
so
Men get it early, and then you said the women also get it during and after menopause, which is quite
yes,
alarming. Yeah, it's quite serious. And then um, we spoke about depression and loneliness as one of the risk factors. Depression
yeah.
and loneliness as one of the risk factors, and it's serious. It's serious because it's wild. I mean, sometimes people. I mean, one of my mentors told me that no one is an island on its own, which means that you cannot live in isolation. You cannot live in isolation. But that, anyways, let me issue this disclaimer. The fact that we say loneliness is a cause doesn't mean that you should go and by force get hooked up. Oh. We beg you. That's not what you are saying. Because sometimes some loneliness can save you hypertension than being in a relationship.
That's true.
Some relationships are actually the cause of hypertension. So yes, sometimes I mean in some particular cases, loneliness will save you the hypertension than being in a relationship. So it is not a guarantee. I beg you, don't say that. They said that we have to. You don't be alone. No, go and look for friends. Go out, chill, have some friends. Go for a social gathering. Relationship is not the only way to get occupied or preoccupied. So, Miss Elizabeth, thank you so much for a wonderful presentation. I really enjoyed the session. Now, to take us on this second episode of second session, the second half, we finished first half, so we are having the first half break. The first half break. So to take us on the second half is our very own Miss Enyonam. Miss Enyonam. Let me. I hope I also get the name fully. Miss Enyonam. Yes. Oh, sorry, it's not Miss. It's Honorable. Sorry. So, someone just and a bird just whispered into my ear that it's Honorable. Honorable Betty Enyonam Yibo. She's a seasoned public health nurse with over 11 years experience of service and the founder of She Cares Foundation, an organization committed to adolescent health well-being. So beyond nursing, Miss Honorable Enyonam is a passionate advocate for maternal child health advocates and for maternal child health, menstrual hygiene, and youth empowerment. She serves as the youth model parliament for Infantimam Municipal and has led several impactful initiatives, including health outreaches vaccination campaigns, and health, adolescent health advocacy. She'll be taking us on the management of hypertension and prevention. Okay, so without much ado, honorable, we are honored to have an honorable in our midst. So, Honorable Enyonam, welcome. The pulpit is yours. Do justice to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Solomon. Good evening. Actually, the name is Etonam, not Enyonam.
Hey, Jesus. Today, I'm guessing
It's Etonam. We
I
have
think today is the day for
Enyonam
me to
and
get the names
Etonam.
correct.
Yeah,
So you are
mine
Etonam
is
rather.
Etonam. Yeah, Etonam.
Oh, I see. Anyways, Honorable, you are welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Benedita, for a huge platform like this. I'm honored to be here. So I'll be taking us through the preventive and the treatment. Is it treatment? Can you project the?
Yeah, I'm doing that shortly. Okay. All right.
So the management, medication, women and hypertension, my own personal experience, prevention. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Miss Elizabeth. Is it Karikai? I don't want to make mistake.
Kakari. Now I can call.
Thank you, Miss Elizabeth
Kakari.
for Kakari, Miss Elizabeth Kakari, for a wonderful presentation like this. I'm sure very soon you'll become one of the topmost lecturers in one of the universities in Ghana. You did so well. And so the management of hypertension, she has said a lot. Lifestyle is actually the foundation of hypertension prevention and management. So you follow a hearty, healthy diet, or DASH, and DASH stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension. It is scientifically proven an eating plan designed to help you lower your blood pressure and improve your health. So some of the things that you can do under DASH, which I said is the dietary approaches to stop hypertension. You eat more fruits and vegetables. That one you have to go with the one you like. Some don't like apple, some like apple. Some too are not in good terms with pineapple. So you prefer the ones that you like, you buy it. And then you make justice to it. And then you eat more of the vegetables too. We should stop more of the, what's the name? More of the oily foods, the fat foods, and then it's more of the vegetables. Please, I'm not calling you. Close the door. And then the vegetables and the fruits. And then whole grains, the brown rice, wheat, and then the rice. A week or two ago, we had this presentation from Miss Victoria, and then she made mention of she mixing rice and wheat together. That one too is very good. We can also take that part. And then we should also engage in regular physical activity. Miss Elizabeth has said a lot about that. At least if you don't have money to go to the gym, you can do that at home. You can take few walks and come back home. It could be bricks walking, cycling, or swimming. We are advised to at least exercise at least 3 times in a week for 30 minutes. We should also try to achieve and maintain a healthy weight that helps to reduce or lower the blood pressure through exercising. One of the management also is to manage stress intentionally by planning rest and the likes. Miss Elizabeth said it. How some stress themselves a lot, especially those with the white collar jobs, doing everything just to put money in pockets and get life going. We should plan at least it's weekend, go out kakra. They said loneliness also is also responsible for hypertension or can also cause hypertension. So go out. Today is Friday. Take a walk. That pub around you, just go sit down there. Buy a bottle of malt, sit down, sip it slowly, and then you'll be fine. The problems there, they are here. We'll die and leave them here. So, and then we should at least sleep 6 to 8 hours, 7 to 8 hours, sorry, each night. When you are home, weekends, you have nowhere going, at least have some rest. After workout too, we should avoid very heavy lifting unless we are directed by our clinicians or your gym instructor that do this or do that. I see some people going to the gym and afterwards they come back and eat this big bowl of banku, big bowl of rice. You have to manage it. For this one, I'll just manage it and then Dr. Bene will throw more light on it afterwards. Some of the medications given to the hypertensives are beta blockers, um, the calcium channel blockers, nifedipine, amlodipine, and the likes. So now, the women in hypertension, me mostly as a preventive nurse, I always educate my clients on the public about prevention measures. For me, I don't wait for the disease to happen before I start talking. I talk to you on the preventive measures so that you wouldn't be able to get it. And women are my topmost priority. So my field or my passion mostly concentrates on women and then girls, the adolescent girls. So, we women, we do lots of family work, community responsibilities, and all that. You see, just imagine how a career woman balance work with family, with the kids, the husband, and other community engagements. Just imagine waking up, taking care of the kids to go to school, and then you also have to prepare yourself, go to school, come back, and it's a lot. So women jungle a lot with work, the family, and then at the end of the day, they stress themselves a lot. We should also um, educate or counsel our women to stop overthinking and then engaging in unnecessary stress. All these things will just end up you having hypertension. I've always been saying this world that we are in, the world will be here, we will live it here. The problems will be here, we will die and leave them here. So we should stop the unnecessary overthinking, the unnecessary stress, and all that. They're all parts of the hypertension control. And then you should also identify the personal stresses. I use myself as an example a lot. If you identify what the stressor is or what is really causing this, you should know maybe a parent or both parents are having hypertension. So you should be able to control or adjust your lifestyle, your eating habits, exercising, and all that. And then if you know a particular problem that is the cause of you having increase blood pressure always. As far as you have been able to identify it, you should cut that off. Okay. And then during pregnancy, some women also develop hypertension. And if it is not treated, or if it is not find out earlier, it goes a long way to do a whole lot of damages to both the mother and the baby. I know people who died of preeclampsia with both, we lost both baby and mother because of hypertension. So please, my women, be very, very vigilant. Sorry for that. So during pregnancy, women go through a lot. So we should just be careful that we don't end up with hypertension, and then it goes a long way to affect either both baby or mother. And also postpartum period. Some women also developed it during that time. The pregnant women should also try to engage in little regular checkups and exercise to manage the hypertension early. And this is my personal experience. After I have given birth to my baby girl, I think that was about 7 years ago. During my ANC and everything, my blood pressure was. My mom is actually hypertensive. She's of late. She's hypertensive. So I knew that at least my mom is hypertensive. So I have been so careful with my lifestyle, my food. At least I engage in a little bit of exercise once in a week or twice. So after I have given birth, my blood pressure was cool. Everything was fine. After my CS, everything was just fine. Then 2 weeks later, I woke up with this severe migraine. And that migraine, when you have it, you should know that is hypertension. It's very painful. I realized that I was having this blur vision, and I'm like, "Ah, what is happening to me?" So I rushed to a nearby clinic. Then my PA said, maybe I'm not sleeping well. That is why. I say, no, I've been sleeping well, so have I been thinking of something? I say, oh no, I've been fine. So it could be malaria. We tested for malaria. It wasn't. Then she just gave me, I think, para also, that I should go and rest. I went home, took my para. Then in the night, the migraine came again, very severe. Like I was even going off. Then I was quickly rushed to the bigger facility where I had my CS, and lo and behold, it was that bad. So I have to be put on medication for some number of years. I think I've been on antihypertensive for like 3 to 4 years. So one day, anytime I take the drug, though it wasn't that helping me, but I was managing it. So I was be asking myself, am I going to be on this drug for the rest of my life or what? So every morning I'll go for checkup, and then in the evening I'll go and check it again. So there was this day I went to take my readings, and it was very, very high. If I could remember, about 150, 100 or something like that. So the guy who checked he looked at me, and then he said, Madam Ness, what is wrong with you? Then I just started crying. Then he was like, you calm down. So when he was done, he just called me aside, and we had a very short chat, and that day really changed everything about my journey with hypertension and all that. Because that day, before I should even go for the readings, I took my medicine, and then my face got so swollen, my lips. I even have the picture still on my phone. I'm like, hey. So after the talk with the guy, and I came home, I told myself, no way, I'm not going to take this drug again. I can't just live all my life taking hypertensive drugs for what? So I called my doctor, and I told him. He was like, oh, come to my office, Betty. so that I'll change the drug for you. And I say, yo, I didn't even go to his office. There and there, I sat myself, someone say, I sat myself down, talked to myself, and I said, no way, I can't continue living like this. Since that day, I've never taken a hypertensive drug, and I've adjusted my lifestyle more. What was really stressing me, I cut it off, and I've been fine since then. And this is one of my personal experience I mostly share with my colleagues and other people battling with hypertension. I always tell you, just identify the stressor. If you identify it, you can be able to overcome it. You can also live with it and then be on the pills, but you can control it. Okay, so we go to the prevention. We should also begin with childhood education by teaching healthy eating habits to our kids. We should stop giving this sweet stuffs to their kids and limiting salts, and then encourage daily physical activity to build lifelong habits. We should also strengthen workplace wellness. I think most of the places now, my directorate, we have a wellness clinic. You can, and even the hospitals have it, all clinics have it. Not necessarily that you are sick, oh, you just walk in and then check your BP and other vitals. And then we should improve food policy by regulating sodium and unhealthy fats in processed foods. That one will leave it with our authorities to work on that. And then our community engagement, like what we are doing now, we should do more of this, encourage more people to join, and then they have first hand information on hypertension. We should also promote routine screening. Once a while, we can organize this community screening and all that. And then provide lifestyle counseling, as I have already said. Now, my conclusion and then call to action. Hypertension is a leading risk factor for heart disease, stroke, and kidney. We can control it through the lifestyle changes. We can use the dietary approaches to stop hypertension, where we eat more fruits, low fat dairy products, less red meat, and then avoidance of the carbonated drinks. Yes. And the prevention also depends on our personal habits and then supportive public policies at the workplaces and the community as well. And also, we should always try to check our blood pressure. Some people, they will say, me, I've never been to the hospital, I don't like the hospital. No, just walk to the hospital, tell them you want to check your blood pressure and see. That is all. We should know that pills can control hypertension, but lifestyle can prevent, delay, or even reduce the need for the pills. Thank you so much. Thank you, RTC Foundation, for giving me this platform. Thank you, everyone.
Wow, that was beautiful. That was splendid. That was excellent work done by Honorable Etonam for the fantastic work. I mean, you've really taken us through all the management and prevention of hypertension. I've been crowning it with your personal experience alone. I don't think anyone here will leave this place the same. It's always the personal experience that makes the difference. The personal experience that leaves an indelible print in our minds and in our hearts. And I believe that everyone here will definitely remember this anytime we are talking about hypertension. So, thank you so much for the brilliant work, Honorable Etonam. Both of you have done a fantastic job, and then I think everyone here really enjoyed the session. So, without much ado, we have our boss here, Dr. Benedicta Hayford. So I'd like to hand over to Dr. Benedicta Hayford if he has some few things to add up before we call it a night. So, Dr. Benedicta, over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Solomon. I appreciate you and I appreciate all the speakers as well. Madam Betty, God bless you, and Elizabeth, God bless you. So, those who joined us, those who are still here, the focus of the discussion, every adult in my family has hypertension. Will I get it too? So if you check our statistics, you realize that hypertension is one of the most common non-communicable disease. Non-communicable disease means that it's not an infection, right? Or it's not something that you can just spread it, right? So it is one of the most common diseases that is around, or when you go to our hospitals, if you go to the internal medicine ward, it's as though everyone has hypertension. It's always hypertension. It's always hypertension. And those of us who are not in our hospitals to just as Elizabeth was saying, that sometimes you hear news and it sounds so mysterious. Oh, sorry, wanyarida eno, meaning that the person never got sick and then the person died. Or, it could be hypertension, and hypertension is one of the diseases which, manifest as such, because hypertension is not written on your body. It's when it is very severe, that's when you are able to have symptoms. But a lot of people walk around with BPs 140, 160s, 180s around as though nothing is wrong with them, unless they check. And even with me as a medical professional, one of our colleagues as such, just on his day-to-day work duty, was having, we do shifts morning or 12 hours, 24 hours and all. So he was on his shift, he was feeling quite dizzy and then he wanted to lie down. And I mean, like a colleague, my colleague is sick, what should I do? The basic thing that you would do as a health professional that someone has come to the hospital is to check vitals. The vitals being your BP, your temperature, your breathing rates, whether there's enough oxygen and all. And I took the BP machine and then it was like 180s, 190s, and I was shocked. We were all quite shocked, but then the news was that um he had a family history of hypertension, and so when he was with the duties and all the stresses, could have participated or contributed in him having the full-blown crisis that he was in. So if you are here particularly, what I want you to take away, if you are here particularly, you have a family member, your mother, your father, your sibling has hypertension, you should be careful, you should be careful. You should take your health quite seriously, because the good news is that you do not have to get the hypertension. If it runs in your family, it's not automatic that you get it. If it runs in the family, just as our speakers have beautifully said, if you take care of your health well, you exercise, you eat well, you reduce your salt intake, you cook yourself your meal so that you know what you are taking, it's likely that you will not get it. But even if you do get it, hypertension can be well managed, meaning that when you are told that you have hypertension, as long as you are taking care of yourself, you are on your medications, your BP is well controlled, you will not have the complications. But if you are like some of the people we see in our hospitals, because in hypertension, you will not feel pain, especially when you are not in crisis, you not have the headache and all of that, and you decide not to take your medications. That is when the severe symptoms will come. It can affect your kidney, can affect your eyes, can affect your brain, where you can have stroke and all of that. So, and I was also very happy that, and I'm not just very happy, I was quite super honored. Personal experiences, I hold them quite dear, because it's like the person is sharing his or her life with you. Unless I tell you I have hypertension, you wouldn't know. And so from the bottom of my heart, from all of us here, Madam Betty, we really honor you that it's not just about you coming to tell us that hypertension is this. You invited us into your life by sharing a personal story that we can learn from. So from all of us, we want to say thank you so much. We truly honor you, and we honor the information that you have given to us about yourself. And so God bless you. So that being said, let us take Auntie Betsy's story and then take it to heart. And you see, she's even a nurse, and then she has it. And I just mentioned that a colleague of mine, a friend of mine, were having duty or on duty, and then we checked his BP, realized that it was quite high. So it doesn't matter whether you're a doctor, you're a nurse, it doesn't matter who you are. And even nowadays, it's becoming very common in young people, because my colleague, I am quite young though, my colleague and I. So it doesn't matter whether your initially hypertension was very common among older people, but now we are seeing a high record in young people as well. So don't say that you are too young to have hypertension. If you are walking about, or once a month or a day, you realize that they are having some health screening, it will be good for you to just at least check, because hypertension, you don't see it on yourself. Once you feel hypertension, meaning that you have a symptom and you feel, let me put it that way, you feel, because Ghanaian society and most societies will not come to the hospital unless they feel pain. So if you want to feel the pain of hypertension, it is at a very critical stage that you will feel the pain. That's sometimes the severe headaches, and even with the kidneys, it's very silent. You don't know. So if you hear, take it from me, if you hear that, oh, they are having health screening, the least you can do is to check your BP. Let them just check your BP for you. And if they have sugar or strips, they can check your sugar level, your blood sugar for you. So wherever you hear that they are having health screening, I think the least or the basic thing that they come with is as fake. So let them check your BP for you. And as our nurses, I think today's panel, all of you are nurses, Mr. Solomon, Elizabeth, and Madam Betty are nurses who are really the people who do a lot of the front line, checking the vitals for our patients and our clients. They have said everything that you need to know about hypertension. And so thank you all so much. And I hope that those of us here who have learned something will practice it. Don't be scared if you get to know that someone in your family has hypertension. Truly, you can have the hypertension, but then because of your lifestyle, you can save yourself. And so that's why they kept mentioning lifestyle. So you may have the family history, but take care of yourself, and then you will get better, or you will not have the hypertension. And even if you don't have the hypertension, as far as you are Black, as far as you are growing, you are eating, you have a risk. So take care of yourself. So this is where I'll end. And thank you all so much. We really appreciate your presence. We appreciate your time and your efforts. Over to you, Mr. Solomon.
Wow, that was brilliant and awesome. Fantastic adapts from our very own Dr. Hayford. We are very grateful, and we really appreciate your inputs and then the additions that you made. Before we go, any questions? I would like to open up the floor for some few questions before we end the dialogue. So if you have questions, you can unmute and ask a question, or you can send it in the chat box. Any questions? The floor is open. Okay. Mary, you can ask your questions. I see your hands up.
Okay, good evening to you all.
Good evening.
I'm sorry I couldn't the session early, so I don't know if you talked about it. But I want to know, Like, how many times or how many times a week should a person check their pressure? Is it once a week or there is not a specific time? Thank you.
Okay. I think
Okay.
Madam Elizabeth.
Yeah, I'll say that. Miss Mary, thank you for your question. So with the blood pressure, ideally for me, I would encourage that if you have the BP machine at home, that's the blood pressure machine, if you have it at home, checking it daily won't be bad. At least after your day-to-day activities from work, from house chores and everything, when you are relaxed, when you are not doing anything, watching TV or conversing with family, can just bring the machine closer to you and check because by that time you are settled in. And if some of us to have really busy schedules, so at least 3 times in a week wouldn't be bad. In a month, that would be like 6 times. Most I said it will depend on your time schedule that you can use to do it. But if you can, every day would be good. So that will help you to monitor it very well to see whether it's rising or it's falling. So I don't know if this helps.
Okay. All right.
Yes,
Mary.
please. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right. Any additions? Any questions? The floor is still open. Any additions and questions are welcome now. So you can raise your hand and or you can just unmute and then flow.
All right. So Mr. Solomon, there's something I would want to add to it.
Sure.
So yeah, when talking about the BP using the figures or the numbers, I was talking about the normal BP being the 120/80. So mostly that's what we know of. So as Mary asked that how frequently you can check your BP, I think that also helps us because although the normal BP is 120/80, every individual also has their own numbers. So every individual, every human being has their own numbers. Some people's own will be significantly low. That doesn't mean they have low BP. Some people's own too are very high, more than the usual. That doesn't mean they have high BP or they have hypertension. It might be their normal. So as individuals, if we are able to check it regularly to know whether this is our normal and this is our abnormal, when we go to the hospitals, it will really help us because sometimes someone comes in and you check and like, hey, this person's BP is too high. And you just check this once, you've met the person for that first time. And maybe some of them is normal because I remember sometimes I check my aunties before like, hey, today the just like, oh, it's normal. Then they'll give you a figure. My highest is 1192 and one this one. My lowest is from this to that. So I think when we are able to know our usual figures from constant checking, it will also help. And if we don't have the BP machines at home, at least we can go to the pharmacy. You see at the pharmacy table, there are clinics, there are many clinics around us. Yes, so we can go there and check, get a book and a pen and always record it in it. That would also help.
Thank you so much for the additions. Any questions? Any additions? Okay. All right. Then I assume that we are all good. We've been satisfied with a lot of information tonight, and I hope that. Okay, Keziah, I see your hands up. You can ask your question now.
Okay, thank you. Please, I wanted to know that if you are pre-hypertensive, does that mean you necessarily have to go to the hospital, or try and manage it yourself, maybe by eating healthy, by exercising, would it go down? Or that alone is not enough? You need to go to the hospital for you to be put on drugs. Thank you.
Okay, I think this is for Madam Betty, since you did the management. So
Okay. So most of the times when you are being asked to check your BP, you don't start with the treatment at once. We encourage that at least 3 times. You check the readings 3 times and the figures are the same. I think that's when they put you on medication. So if you go to the hospital today and then you are being checked and it's like you're even asked to be checking every morning, you are being put on the the reading schedule every morning and
profile,
then
the BP
evening.
profile.
Yes, you go for the check-in. I think it's for 1 week, or Dr. Bennett can clarify that then before you. So even with that, you have taken it today and then it's maybe 170, 100, and you are being asked to maybe come tomorrow, check it. Then you can adjust yourself to the lifestyle, how you eat. You have to modify it, the exercise, and all that. So if you have taken the readings just today, you wouldn't be taking on the treatment just at that moment. But I think the other ones are, yeah, maybe it's so high they even give you the pills to start with. Dr. Bennett, you can add here. Thank you.
All right. Hello.
Hi.
All right. So, Kezia, when you say pre-hypertensive, what do you mean by pre-hypertensive? Did the doctor tell you you are pre-hypertensive, or you are making that diagnosis?
Please, I'm just maybe your normal BP is mostly around 110, 120, 110, 120. But maybe lately it has gone a little bit higher. Let's say 135, 140 thereof. And I read it somewhere that that's classified as pre-hypertensive. So I just wanted to know if you just realize this, can you just modify your lifestyle, or do you have to go to the hospital and be put on medication?
Okay. Perhaps I get you better now. So, it takes a while for a doctor to say that maybe Kezia, you have hypertension. And I think the pre-hypertensive also makes sense. It tells you that you don't just jump and then have hypertension. And I think Elizabeth mentioned them that we call something stresses. So right now, my normal BP may be in the 120 80s. And usually young people or athletic people, their BPs are quite low. So sometimes you may have 90 and 70 or 90, 60, and that may be your normal, and not necessarily that you have low BP. So for such an individual, if let's say you check once in a while and then you realize that, oh, it is now higher. Okay, so let's say I was having it at 90 and now it's 120, or it's now 150. If it's higher now, um, we even when you come to the hospital and we check your BP now and realize that it's, let's say, even 160 or 150, sometimes we let you sit down and wait so that we recheck it, sometimes after 15 minutes, sometimes after 30 minutes, because we realize that your BP is not stagnant. So it can be changing based on some stresses. Let's say if you are sitting down and something happens and then you are scared, right? It's likely that it will raise your BP. If, let's say, you are going to school, it's exam time, and everybody is learning for the exam, within that period, if we are to check the BPs of most of you, it's likely that the BP may be high. Why? Because they are stresses. So that's why we don't just base on one BP to say that you are hypertensive. we check it for quite a while. So sometimes when you come, we tell you to do something called BP profile. So we'll tell you that go home. Some people, when they come to the hospital and then you check their BP, because they are anxious, we call it white coat hypertension. Because they are anxious, they will have hypertension. So sometimes you want them to go home so that they will relax, and then they will go to the pharmacy nearby every day, and they'll check their BP for them, and they'll record it morning and evening. So that's what we call the BP profile. So it's like for a whole week, or uh, for a whole week, or let's say for 2 weeks, you'll be doing that so that we know that, okay, this is the trend of your BP, or it was just one moment that your BP went up. Right, so we do check all these things before we say that, okay, you have hypertension. And even with the hypertension, we want to know whether you can do better with what Auntie Betty said, that will exercise and will conservative management be good for you, or we have to put you on medication? Because sometimes the BPs may not be too high, that let's say you may be in the 130s, 140s. Those ones, we barely give medications for that. So sometimes we may counsel you, right? But when we realize that those BPs are going quite high, you are in the 160s or in the 170s, and you will warrant medication, then we will put you on the medications, the triple, or the therapies and all. So yes, there's something called pre-hypertensive. But if you are the pre-hypertensive times, we don't go ahead and say, come, we'll give you medications. Medications are not the only form of treatment. So sometimes we'll get to know the stressor. It may just be because of exams. It may be because you are thinking too much. It may be because a family relative has died, so there's a stressor. So sometimes when you get rid of that stressor, the person may go back to normal. But when the stressor continues for a long time, that's when the person can actually have the hypertension. So yes, as I said earlier, the pre-hypertensive state is there. But we don't just put you on medications until we are sure that you will benefit from the medication. So don't just be in a hurry to be put on medications. Okay. All right. So
Okay,
thank
thank
you.
you.
I hope it's clear.
Fantastic. Madam Kaza, I hope the explanation went down well with you. Okay. All right.
Yes, please.
That's great. That's good. All right. I hope. Are there any other questions? If not, then we'll be calling it a night. Any questions? Any contributions? All right. Okay. So, with permission from Dr. Benedicta, permission to end the dialogue for tonight. Hi, Dr. Benedicta.
Yes, please. You can go ahead. Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, with permission, I would like to call the dialogue to an end. And I would like to give a special thank you for our very own Dr. Benedicta for putting this together, for the brilliant mind behind the RTC dialogue. It's giving us an opportunity to share our knowledge and our experiences and our expertise in these issues. And it's a great opportunity. We say thank you to our facilitators, Honorable Betty and Miss Miss Kakari. We say thank you for pouring out your heart and your knowledge to us this evening, feeding us with more knowledge and depth of understanding in combating hypertension. We are very grateful. And to you, our audience who have been here and been with us throughout the entire time, we say thank you for making time out of your busy schedules to be with us. We appreciate you, and we look forward to having another opportunity to share knowledge and experience wonderful things together. Thank you so much and have a lovely evening. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Solomon. Dr. Benedicta.
Bye.
Honorable
Bye.
Betty.